Hello students! I'm going to talk about your chalk pastel project. So we used charcoal in our last project, now we're going to move on to color. So what you need to do first, I want you to pick a painting either by Georgia O'Keeffe, Claude Monet, or Vincent van Gogh. The reason why I want you to choose one of these three artists is because their work is colorful. It comes in a variety of subject matter, from landscape to portrait to flowers and still lifes. And they also have a really fun impressionistic style with long strokes in their painting that we can imitate with pastel. So I am going to be working from a Claude Monet painting. This is the one that I'm going to be basing my drawing off of. In my other example, here's my final drawing. I worked from a Vincent van Gogh. So I just wanted to mix it up and try a Monet this time. So first step, I'm going to tape down my paper and start drawing an outline. So now that I have my paper taped down, this is going to prevent my paper from moving, and it's going to make a nice little border on the end when my drawing is all done, and it's the most satisfying thing to peel this paper away. So I have my Monet painting. Ooh, the lamination is making it look shiny. And I'm going to start drawing the basic outlines of the major shapes. I don't want to get carried away in the detail because the pastel is going to cover it anyway. I just want to block in where the major colors are and the major shapes. Next, I'm going to start adding the colors that I see in the background. The reason why I want to start with the background first is because those are the largest areas of space, and then when I start making the things that are closer to me or that are in darker colors, it will go right on top and pop more. So I'm going to start with my background first and then work my way forward in my drawing. So I have the basic colors in. There's a lot of blue in the sky and some white. Now I'm going to go in and add some of this peach that you see right here. And looking at the brush strokes that Monet used in the painting, I'm going to try to do the same thing with my pastel. So just going in really carefully and looking, I'm always looking at the painting. I'm going to go in and add these marks. If you want a softer edge, just kind of have it rub into the other colors, or you can use your finger as the best blending tool. And you can always go in with a little bit of white if you need to make a color a little bit lighter, or like I said, you can blend with your finger. So it's just a lot of careful looking at the painting, because sometimes when I try to do my own thing, it doesn't always look like what it should look like. So it's always important to look at your reference painting, or anything you're looking at when you're drawing or painting for that matter, so that you know where things are and what colors blend together. So it takes time, but I'm just trying to get those short, long, wavy lines that Monet used in his painting. Okay, so now I have most of the sky blocked in color. I'm going to go back in and add finer details when I get closer to the end. And I also added the water right here. Real quick, I just want to show you, I'm going to try to put this on the down here so that the lamination doesn't show up too bad. Yeah, it'll do. So if you have a color in your painting that you don't have in your pastel kit, you're gonna have to think creatively and think what colors would make this peach color. So if I don't have a peach in my pastels, I'm gonna have to think, how can I make that? So I have like a red-orange color right here. So I'm gonna use this to start making this pathway. It's a little bright, as you can tell. It's definitely not the right color on its own. So I'm just gonna look and see where that peach is. I'm gonna lay this down. I can see the crack in my table right there. Did you see that? Gotta cover that up. When you tape your paper down, don't do it on the crack in the table, just like I did, okay? Learn from my mistakes. So I have my red-orange down. Now I'm just gonna go over it with white. See how it's getting lighter already? Just by going over it with white. So this can be like the darkest tone of that red peach color. Then I'm gonna go over it with some yellow. Make sure that this is yellow. Yes, it is. And going over it with yellow, I'm gonna add the short brush strokes from the Monet painting to make it look as accurate as possible. And I love how chalk pastel blends so well. Again, that crack, do you see that? Make sure you don't tape your paper down on a big crack. Oh. Do as I say, not as I do, right? Alright, so I think that works for the yellow, and I'm going to go in with some more white because there are some specks of white that I see popping up on top. I'm not pressing too hard because I don't want to break my chalk pastel, but I do want it to come up. And if there's a spot where it's not coming up as well as you would like, just take your chamois cloth. If you have charcoal on it like mine, try to find a clean spot so you don't ruin the drawing with black. And just erase a spot where you want to put a lighter color on top. And then try going over it again. My white is showing up so much better now than it did before, because the chamois helps remove some of that pastel from the surface of your paper. Take some more yellow right here. Okay, so I hope this makes sense for mixing your own colors and using the chamois cloth carefully to remove pastel if you need a lighter color like white to show up on top of a darker color. And of course you can always put in the light colors first and do the dark around it, but because there's so much peach in this area right here, I just wanted to lay it down right away. Also, if you haven't noticed already, pastel is very messy, so make sure you have a spot where the people that live with you in your house wouldn't mind some chalk pastel dust, and make sure you clean up when you're done. Now I get to add the best part, the detail of the trees. This is the main focal point. This is what I've been saving for last. This is what draws your eye. So I have that mapped out, and now I'm ready to add the dark green. I'm probably going to start with a medium colored green, save these spots here where the light's hitting the tree with a really light green, and then going in with black to blend with the green for the darker shades in the tree. So now that I have all my colors blocked in, I can go in, look at my painting, and see what details am I missing in my chalk pastel drawing. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to find all the little white spots and any other smaller details that I need to add. So perhaps some more leaf texture going on in the trees, more white in the sky. Now keep in mind, there are things that can be done in oil paint that are harder to be done in chalk pastel. For example, going over darker colors with white, as I mentioned before. So just extend some grace to yourself, but do try your best to emulate what the painting looks like in your chalk pastel drawing. And like I said, this is pastel and this is a painting. They're totally different mediums and they can do totally different things. So just have fun with it. So for the most part, I think I'm done. I might mess with it a little bit more, but again, here's my reference painting. Sorry, the lamination was showing. And then here is my chalk pastel drawing. So the best part, probably not the best part, but one of my favorite parts is peeling away the tape. And you can see the nice crisp line from the tape. Now what you can do to help keep the pastel on the paper, because it's so dusty, is if you have hairspray at home, or if there's someone in your house who happens to have hairspray, you can spray that on the top. Whoops. So I'm gonna blow some of this dust off. I'm gonna go get my hairspray. Okay, so I have my hairspray. This is what I use, nothing fancy. And making sure you have nothing nearby that you don't want to have hairspray on. I'm keeping my can pretty far away from the drawing. If I have it too close, it's just going to make a icky, sticky spot. So keeping my hairspray can pretty far away, I'm just going to make a really light coating. Okay, so I didn't put too much on. If you get too much hairspray on the pastel, it can kind of do like a watercolory thing where it will blend and bleed together, and you don't really want that. If we were in the classroom back at school, I have a special spray called Fixative that's just for drawing pastel. But like I said, you might want to use hairspray if you're concerned about the pastel coming off. Or you can hang it on the wall somewhere and spray it, or to keep it clean while you photograph it so it doesn't get smudged, or so it doesn't get smudged too much. So then photograph it, send it in to me, and I will grade it.